Nityanandam, my name is Sri Nitya Shitoshananda and I welcome you all back for yet another video about Brahmacharya. Today I'm going to share a little bit of how and why I decided to become a sannyasi, a monk, a brahmachari in the Nityananda Sampradaya. So I'm gonna resume whatever happened in my life before I decided to meet Swamiji and go to Inner Awakening very quickly. I studied mechanical engineering. Then I started to study business and finance, but I dropped because I was being in conflict with some of the thought currents that my teachers, my professors were having regarding what they were teaching. And then after that, I was kind of fed up and I didn't know what to do much with my life. And at that time, I was in a period where I was doing a lot of martial arts. So Shaolin Kung Fu, if you guys know. It's a Buddhist based martial art. So I was kind of connecting to consciousness and all that through Buddhism at that time. And at that time I met the Vietnamese master, Kung Fu master Vietnamese, who was also doing, he was also a doctor. So I kind of dropped everything and I became his assistant and secretary, and I helped him, and I learned whatever he was teaching, and he was teaching me also martial arts and all that. And he brought me to Vietnam one summer, and then we stayed there. I liked it. Then I came back to Canada and again worked for him for a year, and it was a very intense period in my life where I was seeking and I felt really unfulfilled and I didn't know what to do, and he was my only option at that time, but I felt like it was not enough. And then we went again to Vietnam for another vacation the summer year after. And this time I decided, you know what, the life in Canada, I'm experiencing tiredness and boredom and I'm not interested and I'm depressed and all that, so I'm just going to stay in Vietnam. And Vietnam was different because it had different culture, different people, different food, different landscapes, different environment, different weather, different everything. So it was a kind of a mind-breaking experience where everything was new, and I had an opportunity to reinvent myself. So I stayed. I basically renewed my visa and taught basic level of English, got a good salary. I was having a pretty good life, next to the beach, good weather, amazing fruits, food is nice, working very little, 3 hours a day, making a lot more money than what I needed to live. And I was living in an apartment on like the top floor. I was driving a motorbike. Everything that I wanted, I was kind of living over there. And I had a girlfriend also. And after 2 years of my stay in Vietnam, so I stayed in Vietnam for 2 years, and after 2 years, near the end, the same kind of boredom and depression came back. I was playing video games also. You should know that I was a video gamer, a pretty intense video gamer for approximately 10 years. And in Vietnam also, because I was working so little, I had a lot of time to play video games. So I was playing video games, World of Warcraft for those who might know. And then the same boredom came back. And then I started to feel like, oh, maybe if I start to flirt around with other girls and go around and everything, it'll be more spicy or more interesting, because my mind was kind of getting bored of the relationship I was into, even though I liked her and everything. But it was nothing actually. Now that I know Swamiji, I mean, there was no love in the whole thing, but yeah, it was unfulfilling, and my mind got bored. So I started to think like, if I start to go around, it'll be nicer, and I'll get the spice of life again. But then I quickly, as I was looking into that possibility, I quickly realized it was a very bad idea for different reasons, but mainly like people getting jealous and all that, and I would be in the middle of everything, and it would be pretty messy, because in Vietnam, when you have a foreigner as a lover or boyfriend or girlfriend, it's a pretty good thing, because it's a good life, kind of a insured good life. So like that, I quickly realized this is not going to work at all, and I'm going to get in more troubles than what I'm already into. So I just dropped the whole thing. And at that time, the taste for meat disappeared. I suddenly felt like I didn't want to eat meat anymore. I stopped my physical relationship with my ex-girlfriend also. We were still together, but there was no physical relationship anymore. I was also I was bored, and it was not fulfilling me at all. And I started to plan to buy a land in the countryside and become a monk, and kind of basically sit in the countryside and meditate and live off of fruits and having a fruit farm kind of thing. That was the visualization I had, and I was learning everything, how to be self-sustainable, build your own house, and everything. And I was a pretty simple person also, so it was easy for me. I didn't have much requirements. And but at that time, my mom thought it was a very bad idea, and she said that it would not work out, and what you think, because I had to get married in order to make that happen. because I would need to have a kind of a Vietnamese foot on the ground, and that would only happen through marriage. So that was my plan. My ex-girlfriend was saying, yeah, yes, I'll support you and everything, but my Purvashram mother was telling me, no, no, you have no idea what you're getting yourself into, and it's not going to work out. And she's saying that now, but everything's going to change later and all that. So somehow I went back to Canada because I had to renew my visa. And then at that time I proposed my project to my father and mother. My father was willing to support, but my mother was like, you do whatever you want, but if you're going there, then forget it. This is just a very bad decision. And she was like, I'm going to focus on my spiritual life with Swamiji. And then, yeah, so at that time I felt like, oh, okay, things are not turning out the way I wanted to. And I kind of looked in, and I was kind of looking in everything, and I was wondering why I didn't want to go to India into Inner Awakening, because I did promise to my mother that at some point I would do Inner Awakening. But I had some resistance towards going to India for whatever reason. So I was looking in, and also at that time I was kind of connecting to Ramana Maharshi, and the desire to actually have darshan of Arunachala was happening. And this desire to have darshan of Arunachala is actually the key point which made me look into why I didn't want to go to India. And what I figured out is that I had some kind of pattern where I was in kind of a competition with my mother in terms of spiritual growth, and she was inclined to go to India, and I had to reach the goal faster than her without taking her methods. So just because of that, I didn't want to go to India. So I kind of identified that, and I dropped it, and I decided, let's go, I'm going to Inner Awakening, that's it. And then I started to listen to Swamiji's satsangs, and then very quickly I realized that he had well, pretty much infinite amount of wisdom, and he could definitely lead me into my quest of Inner Awakening, basically. And then I listened to satsangs and everything, and I prepared myself for the Inner Awakening. And the next Inner Awakening was in Varanasi. It was the first Inner Awakening that Swamiji conducted in Varanasi in 2014. And then I attended the Inner Awakening. So this is basically how I decided to become Brahmacharya. After Inner Awakening, during Inner Awakening, I told Swamiji I want to become sannyasi. He somehow blessed, and then after that, next Guru Purnima in July, I became Brahmachari, and I started to live this lifestyle of intense seeking and search to radiate these tattvas, these powerful cosmic truths. And that was the best decision of my life. When I started to listen to Swamiji's teachings before going to Inner Awakening, I realized in what kind of mess I was getting myself into with my plan in Vietnam and all that. And I was so grateful that somehow my Purvashram mother pulled me out, and that Swamiji was there, and he was opening his arms to, take me into that path of sannyas. And that was the best decision I made. There's been some up and downs, no doubt, but there's seeking the purpose for which you came, and seeking that space, that unshakable space of Sadashivatva, Sadashivoham. It's all about sannyas. So that's a quick thing I wanted to share. I'll share more about different things which happened to me on my journey towards Brahmacharya, but for today that'll be it for now. So I'll see you guys in another video, and if you like, subscribe, write a comment below, and I'll see you guys soon. Nityanandam.